Hi students, welcome back to art class. We're back here in my home studio. I'm in the den again because it gets better light, so hopefully this works out for all of you. I didn't get any emails or anything from anyone with any questions, so hopefully that all went well. If you develop any questions, of course, you're welcome to reach out to me or show up to my office hours. Those should now be on the list of when different teachers have office hours in the link there. Today we are going to do, it's called a kumahimo braid. It's not what you're thinking of if you're thinking of a hair braid. This is something that actually I taught, I think, one of my 5th grade classes. So if you were in that class, this is a review, but let me share my doc cam and I'll show you the supplies that are needed. If you don't have the supplies, that's okay. Please just still watch the video. So that you can learn a little bit about the process, and then when we're back in school, we can do other things and you'll not be behind. You'll still understand the concepts, okay? It's just a moment. All right. There we go. So here we are. Here, you can see here I said this background is to give the doc cam something clear to focus on. That's why it's got all these straight lines, because that encourages the doc cam to focus on something, and it will override my hand. See how my hand's not throwing the focus off now as much? So that's why it is like it is. So we are doing kumahimo cords. You need a small piece of cardboard, something like this from like a cardboard box or a cereal box. Even just a heavy piece of paper is fine. You will need a pencil or a pen. Marker works too. Scissors and string or yarn or dental floss, or even strips of fabric or strips of a plastic bag work just fine too. If you're going, what, strips of fabric? Look at my previous week. There's actually 2 lessons posted. Look at the second one. That is a follow-up, and that is where I show you how to cut fabric and turn it into kind of long cords. Here it is. Like this, can you see? This was just a piece of fabric, and certain fabrics, when they're kind of stretchy like this, if you pull them, they will start to curl up and form kind of almost looks like a shoestring. Okay, that's an option too. Of course, please ask your parents before you go cutting anything apart. All right, so I actually made a little video demonstration for you guys that I posted to my YouTube channel, and that's what I used in class when I showed my 5th grade class that already did this project. I'm going to use that video again because I think it worked pretty well. So please watch the video completely. After the video ends, and it's not that long, but after it ends, I'll do another demonstration for you here, and we won't use the printout for the loom. We'll just use some basic cuts and some cardboard to do it. I think it'll work out just fine. So here we go. Hi class, today we're doing kumahimo braids. These are Japanese braids that were originally used on kimonos and to hold the armor on warriors. You're going to get something that looks like this. This is just the directions, materials you'll need here, okay? Oops. You will not be getting a piece of paper like that. You really don't need it. I would give it to you in class, but it's not necessary if you want to. I can post the little picture I just showed you in the additional materials folder for this week. But it's really, it's not necessary. Let me go back to where I was here.
And then the directions, but I'm going to do it here so you can see all of it. You're going to take this and you can just kind of use a scissors, I suppose, to get just the little dial part. Make sure
you don't need to use a glue stick. You can also just use normal Elmer's glue. It'll work just fine. Just remember, if you use Elmer's glue, don't put it on too heavy, and make sure you wait for it to dry before you do anything else.
Sure you just go, mostly you need to make sure you go around the outer edge so that you cover where the outer edge is.
Did you catch that part? I said you need to make sure you cover the outer edge with glue, the outer edge of the style. Otherwise, when you cut everything, eventually the paper will flop up and it won't be good. But we can work on that if we do these back when we're in school. For now, don't worry about that part too much.
And you will just put it down on a piece of paper. When you use a glue stick, remember, turn the glue stick down before you put the lid on it. I don't want to find a bunch of glue sticks that are all mushed on because no one retracted the glue.
Always
Once you do that, you'll be taking your baby scissors and cutting out the template. Now, because you're watching me do this and I don't want to make you wait forever, I'm using some better scissors. Yes, you will have to use the worst scissors. It will build hand muscle and it will all be fine. Plus, quite frankly, we just don't have that many of these bigger scissors, otherwise I'd let you use those. But building hand muscles is good.
You can use whatever scissors you want in your house as long as your parents are okay with it.
All right. So more or less along the line is good. You doesn't have to be exact. All right. Now, this looks like it has a lot of scary stuff on it, all kinds of information. This is just to help you. It's really not needed. Then the next thing you do is you see each of these little marks here. There's 16 of them. Every time you see that little mark, you're just going to put a little cut into the paper like I'm doing, into the paper and cardboard. All right? All right, almost done. 3 more. There we go. All right. Now you're gonna get some yarn from me. Your first one, you don't get to choose the colors. Your second one, you can. So you will be taking your yarn. You have 4 pieces of yarn. There's 2 different colors, 2 strings of each, right? You're going to fold them in half. Make sure the ends are more or less even. Then you will be tying a knot here, okay? You will keep this little loop. All right, there we go. Now, you can take, well, you'll be using something more like this. You can take your little baby scissors.
You probably shouldn't do it the way that I did it. You can use a pencil and just poke it through the middle. Don't use the scissors to do it, even if you keep your hand out of the way.
And carefully, there we go. Just put a little hole. Don't put your hand behind it while you put the scissor through it. Make sure your hand's off to the side. Because if you get hurt, that's a lot of paperwork that I have to fill out. All right. So then you will just feed these folded over loops through. Now, when you get to here, you can put it so that number 12 is up, just like a clock. You don't have to, but it's probably the easiest. You will take your blue, or the color you have closest to blue, and you will put those 2 strings up here. See where 14 and 13 are? You'll then take the other 2 blue strings and you will put them at the bottom. See where 5 and 6 are? Then you'll take your 2 other strings, or your 4 other strings, the other color, and you'll put them here at 1 and 2, and 9 and 10, right? Now, how do I know where those are? It's right where the line is. See where those lines are? That's what I'm covering, right? So you're gonna have opposites, blue, and then other color. I find it's easiest when I hold the loom with one hand and I use the other hand to move the thread around. Now, all I'm going to be doing is taking this string and moving it here, and taking this string and moving it here. That's it. That's the whole thing. Once I've done that, I'm going to make a quarter turn to the right, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing again, but with different strings. I'm going to move this string here, this string here. So lower left to upper right to lower right. Then I'm going to give it a quarter turn, okay? So lower left to upper right to lower right. Okay, quarter turn to the right. Lower left to upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Lower left to upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Lower left to upper right to lower right. All right, your braid, when it's building itself, you would expect it maybe to come here, but it's not. The braid will come out the back side of this. So I'm going to continue to work on this here. You may now begin working on your Kumihimo braid and loom. If you want, you can continue to watch me for more examples of how to do this, okay? So let's see. I just did my pink. I know I just did my pink because the pink is on top. That means I need to turn it a quarter turn to the right. So lower left to upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Lower left to upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Lower left to upper right to lower right. I once had students ask me, lower left of what? Well, when I say lower left, I just mean of the 2 strings that are on the bottom, I'm grabbing the one on the lower left. And I'm moving it to the upper right of the other blue strings.
Nope, I meant to say upper
left. Then I'm
left.
taking the blue string at the upper right of all of the blue strings and moving it to the lower right of the string on the bottom. This is something I've done with 4th and 5th graders. Every single one of the children got it. It took a couple of tries, but everyone understood it, so I'm really not worried. I'm sure you'll all be able to do it just fine. If you have questions, you can ask me, but give it a try first before saying, is this right? Is this right? Because that really doesn't accomplish anything for anyone. Here we go. Now if you look, class, you can start to see, here's what it's going to look like. It's this rotating pattern. Okay, so just like we're moving the strings like this and turning, that's what's creating this pattern here. That's why we're turning it a quarter turn every time. Enjoy!
All right, so let me stop that. Okay, so now obviously I made that video. Actually, I made it over our spring break. Oh my, hold on. I don't know why that's happening. Okay, let's try this again. I guess it auto plays whatever I have next on YouTube. Let me get back to Zoom. There we go. So sorry, sometimes when I am trying to show you how to do something, things don't go perfectly. When I'm recording videos, there isn't a way for me to just pause it and go back a few seconds and then start recording again. I have to do it pretty much all at once. When I don't have the doc cam up, I can hit pause, but if I have the doc cam up, I can't even pause it. I have to close the doc cam. So thanks for sticking with me as I continue to try and get this right for you guys the first time. Okay, so let me launch the dot cam again. There we go. All right. So I had that dial that you saw in there. It's not really necessary. You're gonna grab your cardboard. Also, please go get these things together and come back and hit pause on this video and come back when you have these things. If you don't have string, talk to your parents about it. If you don't have any at all, that's fine. Just watch the video so that you understand the process, okay? All right, so hit pause and come back when you have your supplies. Okay, so first things first, you've got some sort of cardboard, right? Find something round, put it over it. You can take a marker or whatever you have, draw a circle. All right, right? More or less. All right, then you're gonna cut it out. So cut out your circle. It takes you a little bit longer than it does me. That's okay, just hit pause. And through the magic of preparation, look, my circle's already done. Okay, hit pause until you're done with your circle. Okay, so once you're done cutting your circle, you're gonna draw kind of like an X, all right, but like a skinny X. Oops, you can't see that, can you? All right. Oops, that's not really in the middle, is it? Oh, that's more in the middle now. Then do the same thing on the other side. So you can draw it as a skinny X or you can just draw a B and make it kind of match on the other side. All right, so basically you drew two X's. Now, you're gonna put a little cut mark at each of these ends, all right? Now, in between these, all right? So you see how these little V areas are smaller? I'm just gonna color those in so you can see the areas I'm talking about. You might wanna do the same thing, just color those areas in. This might be a lot easier now that I think about it.
basically what I have here.
Here is 4 long strings, but I'm folding them in half. Okay, so it's sort of like I got 8. Now I'm going to tie a knot here. In my previous lesson, we went over how to tie a knot, so if you need help on that, you can look at the previous lesson. All right. There we go. Now you're going to take the ends of your loops, okay, kind of gather them up in your fingers and start to poke them through this hole. See how I'm kind of poking them through? Kind of grab them. And as one goes through, the rest should kind of follow. Then you're going to get here and you're going to have that knot. Just pull the knot through. It'll go through. And then tighten it up like this, okay? So this is what you should have. Now, there we go. You are going to take your darker string, decide what your darker string is. And you are going to, did I miss one? All right, you're going to put your darker string over these first lines that I missed that one too. These first lines that we made, okay? See? Do that on the top as you're holding it, and then find those other 2 dark strings, all right? And put them on the bottom here over the lines. Might have to kind of move the yarn around to get those separated to do it, all right? So now what I have is this. Here, I'm gonna move this down so you can see it. There too. This is what I have now. I have my yarn here and here. That's my dark yarn. All right, now I still have these 4 strings of light yarn. So I'm going to put those over the other V's or X's, okay, that are off to my left and my right. So this is what you should have. If you do not have this right now, hit pause, go back, watch it again, and figure out what you did wrong. Because if you're not at this point, nothing else is going to go right from here, okay? Now see in the middle, let's see in the middle how it's kind of weird looking, how the yarn's going around like that right now at the beginning? Don't worry about that. That's totally normal right now, okay? So I'm going to hold it like this, okay? Right now I've got a dark triangle on top, right? So I'm going to make my movements, and then when I say quarter turn to the right, all that means is that I'm going to move it like this so that the next one is at the top, the tan. When I move it again, it'll be back to a dark V at the top. That's all it means when I say quarter turn, okay? Just means if you have a dark one at the top, turn it to the right so that you have a lighter one at the top. All right, now, I find it's easiest to do this if I hold it in one hand and I don't move that hand, and I only use one hand to move the strings around, okay? So I'm going to take the string that is on the bottom left. So I've got 2 strings at the bottom, the one that's at the left. And I'm going to move it up and put it on the left of the 2 strings at the top, okay? Then I'm going to take of the strings at the top, the one all the way to the right, and I'm going to bring it down and put it to the right of the other string that's on the bottom that's dark. I'm going to give it a quarter turn to the right. I'm going to take the yarn that's at the bottom left, move it to the upper left. Then from the upper right, move it to the bottom right. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to do a quarter turn. Oops. Yeah, quarter turn. So then The greens, the dark greens are the ones I'm going to use now. It's a little hard to see with this, isn't it? From the lower left to the upper left, from the upper right, this one, to the lower right, right? Now, quarter turn. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right, quarter turn. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Right, now if you look, if I go, oh wait, I set it down, which one was I on? See how this dark green is on top of the other one, the lighter green? That lets me know I just did the dark green. So the dark green should be side to side so that I can use the lighter green. So lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right, lower left to upper, well, where is it? Upper left, upper right to lower right, quarter turn. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Now, a lot of times I have students come to me and say, this doesn't look right, this doesn't look right. Well, it is right. It just looks kind of odd because we're not used to using string in this way or braiding this way. So as long as you're doing exactly what I'm doing in the order I'm doing it, don't worry about it, it'll be right, okay? So now I need to do a quarter turn. So lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right, quarter turn. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Now what do? Quarter turn to the right. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Lower left to upper left, upper right to lower right. Quarter turn. Now, remember when you do this, nothing will really come out the front. In fact, if it starts to get poofy, you can pull it back a little bit, like this. And then you'll start to see, oops. See, can you see how that braid is starting to form there, how it's twisting? So let's see, I've got the dark green on the top, so I know I need to have the light green at the top and bottom. So, oops. Let's see, my dark green's on top, so I need to do my light green. Have you all seen enough of me doing this? Probably. If not, you can certainly rewind it and watch it. My YouTube video is, of course, at the beginning of this. Now, if you look, see, that's what it should look like. If it doesn't look like that, that means something went wrong. It happens sometimes. Don't worry about it. You can always try again. But notice how thick it is. If I had just a few pieces of string, right, it wouldn't be this thick. But because we're folding it over and winding it around each other, that's why we're getting this nice thick cord. And anytime you do this with yarns, it's going to make it stronger than if I just had individual pieces of yarn. So that's one reason that ropes and cords or braiding, it's all the same thing. That's why they're so useful. So actually I was going to show you something else that I did just while I've actually spent quite a bit of time trying to get my lessons together, but I wanted to show you what else I've been doing while I've been home. So I'm actually staying with my cousin, name's Ms. Smader. She's also an art teacher, so we've been having a lot of fun together. And, you know, while we're all at home, sometimes there's, you know, you can't go out and see your friends or go to a movie, but that's okay. You can spend some time making stuff, right? So when I talk to you guys about, you know, how you need good hand muscles and you need good control of your hands, it's because I like to do stuff. I like to make stuff sometimes, and you know, without good hand muscles, it doesn't work. Well, Miss Smader wears reading glasses sometimes, and she thinks they're quite ugly. So she asked me, because she knows I've done stuff, covered stuff in rhinestones before, if I had some rhinestones with, and if I would do a pair of her reading glasses. Can you see those? Here, let me shorten it up a little. There we go. So those are her reading glasses now. Kind of shiny, huh? It's just for fun. So I'll show you how I do it. Of course, I don't expect you guys to go doing this. I just thought it might be fun for you to see how I do this. So I have a little container here. It's got some different kinds of rhinestones in it. A little bit of glue. And then I've got this tool, and it's really basic. All it has is a little kind of hole in here. You push a little bit of waxy stuff in there so that when you take a rhinestone, you can just touch the tip of it to the rhinestone. Oops. Let me get one out here. And it picks it up. Can you see that? So I'm holding a rhinestone on here right now. And the way that I do this is, let's see if I can. You can watch it from both sides, I think, then. Take a little bit of glue, figure out where I want to put the rhinestones, okay? And then see how I have them up here? That's the part I need to work on right now. I need to even this out because right here I don't have any, and here I do. So I'm going to put some of my glue in. And this is it's called a needle tip applicator. Maybe my light's too bright for this right now. It's called a needle tip applicator. Can you see that? And this is a metal tube. So whenever you have a metal tube, you squeeze at the bottom. And you can see how a little bead of glue is just starting to come out there. So I'm going to carefully kind of put it down and then spread it. Oopsies. Let me see if I can get the stock cam down a little further, okay? Just a moment. There you go. Can you see what I'm doing now? Okay. So I have these teeny, teeny, tiny. Look at how little these are. Little itty bitty rhinestones. Just gonna put them right there, okay? And just so you can see how tiny they are, here's a normal size pencil next to them. So they're really little. So I'm going to take my little thing that grabs them. Oopsies, jumped off. I'm going to carefully place it into the glue, and I can slide it into place where I want it. Kind of push it down so it stays secure. This glue takes 24 hours to dry completely, or cure it's called, but that's okay. I've got time. She's not going anywhere. Oops. This isn't normally how I set these to work on them, but so you can see these teeny, teeny, tiny little things. It takes a lot of really careful control over what I'm doing to get everything exactly where I want it, because if one of these little shiny rhinestones is a little bit out of place, your eye can tell. Oh, you might be able to hear Teddy barking right now. He's probably excited, getting ready for a little snack. You see how those are in alignment now? So the first time I did anything like this actually was when a friend who manages a musician asked, and they live out in Las Vegas, asked me if I could cover a guitar in rhinestones, Swarovski rhinestones, for his stage performances. And I said, well, yeah, I know how to do it. So they sent me a guitar and I covered it in rhinestones, and it looks pretty awesome. And it's fun to see it under the stage lighting, the bright lights on stage. I've actually done, let me think, done 3 of those now. It takes a lot of time, but it looks so cool and sparkly. The last one I did was a large acoustic guitar, and I lost count of how many rhinestones after 17,000. And I placed them all individually. So I've got patience, I guess. I didn't always. I'm just showing you this so you can see what kind of cool things you can do to just, you know, keep yourself busy. You can see how the light's reflecting onto my hand right now from the rhinestones. And sometimes, you know, you just want to make stuff a little prettier. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm doing right now. It's not necessary, but it's fun. So that's what they will look like. Oops, a few fell off down there while they were curing. See if I can't fix that now. These are smaller than a piece of rice. A lot smaller. All right, so they're more or less done. I was kind of trying to decide what I should do back here. Maybe I'll put some back there. Oops. See how long I've been running so I don't go over too much. Oh, it's about time to stop, so I better go. But I hope you're all doing well and enjoying these art lessons. It might be nice for you to be able to play them back go at your own speed. Next week, we will be doing something that is not yarn related. So if you haven't had any yarns to work with, don't worry about it. Next week, we'll be doing something a little bit different. All right. So for next week, things that would be useful to have with you are scissors, tape, paper. That's pretty much it. All right. Take care. Have a good week.